We are live, people, after France just trashed Argentina 4-3. Yeah, I know it's not really a trashy number, but yes, they trashed them. Anyway, welcome to the weekly. As you can see, as a Nigerian, I'm super happy about that.
I was going to say, I didn't really feel like your ire for this game was based on those two teams, but more maybe what happened between Argentina and another team is what was informing your alliance with France.
No. I mean, France has been typically called the African national team, as you can see by this makeup of the squad. But anyway, let's get back to the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, doing real good, man. It's been a great week. Cleaned up a whole bunch of stuff, got a bunch of videos finished, got some fun projects working on. So I know, like you, we were talking before we jumped on the air. This is like the getting stuff done week. I like it.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. So let's get in. First of all, any uselessness, because I couldn't find one. If there's anyone in there, thank you, Lou Rod. Bye, Messi. Sorry. Any uselessness, let me know.
Keep us posted on what you thought was the uselessness of the week, and we'll sort it from there.
Okay. So Samsung sent out invites August 9th for the Galaxy Note 9. It is early. Those reports were there saying it was going to be early, and boom. Here it is. What do you think about the date? Some of the rumors which we'll get into in terms of what's coming to the device, especially from a very famous Russian blogger. Right. But what do you think about the early date?
This is definitely the right play for Samsung. This entire year, schedules have been off. So when we've got late releases for LGs, we're probably going to be facing a lot of competition getting into the back to school era. We've got iPhones, we've got Pixel. If Samsung wants to keep, because this has been a successful strategy for Samsung, is occupying a window without competition to own all of the discussion on their product for that time period. So this is the right window to hit that and not have to worry about coming in with iPhone chatter, Pixel chatter, LG chatter, any other companies which might even distract a little bit. This is exactly where they need to be. And especially because I think Samsung is getting that sense that tech bloggers and tech reviewers aren't necessarily going to just roll over and give them positive coverage. So from all of the leaks, from all of the renders that we've seen, people out there saying like, oh, well, if it's shaped like this, it's going to be boring. And that's not the point of a Note, right? The Note shouldn't necessarily be the flashiest, prettiest hot rod design. It's about making the most baller productivity device you can. So I think this is the right play for them to get out ahead of that, to own a pocket of conversation, and then also be able to weather the geek backlash that somehow they aren't doing enough to make the Note special. Because, you know, I'll be cranky about some of that stuff too, probably. But this is exactly where they need to be.
Well, I don't think you'd be cranky about some of the rumors, because I'm hearing 4,000 milliamp battery. When I saw that, you were the first person that came to mind.
So that one, and then also potentially that we might see some application of a Samsung triple camera, and that could be really compelling too. So I'll actually probably be happier with this Note than any previous Note, especially if they decide to fight against the notch. I was in the chat room of another popular Android podcast, where the hosts had been very against the notch when LG did the notch. Then renders came out for the Pixel, and they were like, oh, well, I guess now I don't hate notches. And then they started trashing the Note for not being a daring enough departure in design.
Okay, let me say this.
Oh, it's so boring now. And you're like, in two phones, you went from hating the notch to loving the notch because your favorite phone did it. And now you're complaining about phones that don't have the notch.
Okay, whoever that person is, I might know, you are useless. That's just it.
That'll be my baby useless. I'm not going to name names. Anyone who was in, actually, they share quite a bit of audience with me and with you. So
that's uselessness. I'm sorry. You know what? I look, we've seen companies like Oppo, Vivo show that you don't need to. Samsung has proven this year with the S9 that, look, it still looks sexy. You don't need to do that, and you can make a solid phone. To me, even, and I'm sure I saw part of your LG G7 ThinQ review. My biggest problem with the G7 ThinQ is the notch. I'm serious.
Yes, it's an eyesore.
That's exactly,
especially with an LCD screen, because it's harder to hide when you don't have a pure contrast ratio.
It's not even just that. It's the fact that when I hold the G7, if I hold it afar, I hold the G7 and the OnePlus, it's the same phone.
I mean, yeah, they're pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the stupidity of it. Like that. Forgetting the notch aside, let's move that away. Yeah, go back to the Note 8. Well, the 4,000 milliamp battery, like you said, triple camera, but also we're hearing that new ISO cell they announced earlier this week is going to be there, which is taking at least 30% more light, if I'm not mistaken, and a new improved OIS as well. So those kind of things, it looks like Samsung is like, okay, Huawei trashed us a little bit earlier this year. All right,
Huawei trashed everybody a lot.
Yeah. So let's see if we can regain that a bit. But the thing I like, which I wish Sam was here, is that they talked about a brand new S Pen, Bluetooth connectivity. I mean, not the rumors. Sorry, let me get that correctly. New modes in terms of using productivity on this device. So it's good to see the S Pen itself, which is something that they've kind of like fine-tuned, is getting some refresher in there, if you will. But like I've said earlier this year, I said everything Samsung does this year will not be revolutionary, and it shouldn't, because you've got 10 coming next year. It should be something that at least will get people to say, I will buy this. But don't expect anything leaps and bounds. Like, the rumors of the fingerprint sensors at the back. I can see that because, we've talked about this before. Samsung would want that whole bottom section at the very least to be a fingerprint sensor location, so that, you don't tell people I got a place in this section or that section, which, it can be done. But I think that you really want it to just feel natural by just,
and that's also, it's not so much that I feel like the Note needs to do something revolutionary. It's that I want the Note to feel like a separate product. And Note 7 and Note 8 feel a lot like a Galaxy S with an S Pen. I feel like the bigger departure from the Galaxy S is actually the Galaxy Active, for what the Active is targeted and focused on doing. So if the Note can just be delineated from the S series, one of the main ways we would want to see that: bigger battery, enhanced S Pen features. Now we're talking about a distinct product line, which deserves to live on its own and doesn't have the same feel as an S9. So that to me would be the big win. Yeah. You want to get me excited about the Note again, make the Note feel like a separate phone. Don't worry about the bandwagon trends like notches. You ignore that. I'll be so happy if Samsung doesn't fall into that trap that you have to have a notch because everyone thinks you have to have a notch because Apple did a notch. Don't do that. Be your own company and show people that you can deliver products with focus, and I'm on board again.
No, I definitely agree. And also, again, for Samsung, it's a great opportunity marketing-wise to abuse everybody later on in the year, that you follow the crowd, you join Apple. You can actually throw LG fans and Apple fans on the same line in your ads. I'm just throwing that out there. And say all of you decided to, go with the crowd while I'm still chilling with my S Pen and doing whatever. But I definitely agree with you that I think that makes a lot of sense. But what this launch window also does is open up that space that we knew was coming. Reports that Samsung has started production of its foldable displays, and the rumors of the Galaxy X is coming, which makes sense. Is that could be that smaller device, not smaller, but smaller release scheduled device that say, hey guys, check this out towards the end of the year. If you want to buy it, no problem. But there's also a Galaxy Note that came out earlier. This is an S9 that came out. What do you think about that?
You want to get the latest and greatest device from Samsung for Christmas this year for your loved ones? Yes, foldable displays.
Okay, Sam. Yeah. Since you're here, thoughts about that as well as the Note 9. I know you're the Note 9.
Weigh in on the Note 9.
Remember? Note 9, man. It still doesn't look as though it's going to have the fingerprint under the screen. I think we're all clear with that by now. I think we all have to have made our peace with it. But I think what I'm really hoping to see is, what kind of battery life is this going to have? The Note 9 battery is good right now. It can last me through a full day, but I want something more than just like a few percentage points left on my phone at the end of the day. And I'm like, if I even end up going out, that phone's going to die on me if I get home. So battery life is going to be important to me. Processing speed is going to be important to me because I think the Note 9 is turning more and more into a computing device, especially with DeX. So whatever they do with DeX, whatever kind of processor they put in there, if they can actually come out with a way to, put a processor in DeX that kind of, supplements whatever's on the phone, that will be a big win for them, because now they're literally, putting your eggs in that productivity basket, saying, hey, if you're going to get a productivity device, if you're going to get something that you need to be a road warrior with, you don't have to carry a laptop, carry a Note 9. That's really what I'm looking forward to. The improvements in camera, hey, who doesn't like improvement in camera, right? Who doesn't want to be able to go out and take photos and be able to show that to your friends while they're on vacation? So that's good. But to me, that's not the most important thing for a Note device. The Note device, to me, isn't a creator device. It's a productivity, like, road warrior device. So we'll get to see what they come out with. But I'm actually really stoked to see what they do with it.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to skip Motorola for a second and jump to the pocketable Surface, or the foldable.
Oh, hold
Surface.
on, because this is going to be, I mean, like some of the conversation from Moto too. I did want to ask what your guys' thoughts were on Samsung's rumored implementation of a foldable screen, because I think this will also kind of lead us into discussing what Microsoft is trying to do.
Yeah,
with this project Andromeda. We've seen Motorola and Lenovo playing with this. Did you guys get to see those?
Yeah, the bendable
demos?
ones. Yeah,
exactly.
That was like 2 years ago, I believe.
I really feel like that kind of implementation of a bendable screen has more application to it than trying to convince me that my main phone should be a foldable or expandable screen. So do you think Samsung would be on the right track if they made a phone which was sort of like the real version of an Axon M? Or do you think that would be an overly compromised device based on what we have?
I mean, I'm not sure, because for instance, I do like the renders that the Surface Andromeda looks like, just because it's almost like saying making a Note, I call it like a Note Maximum. That's what I'm thinking in my head, but I don't know where. Like, to me, I guess I would say, like, it just reminds me of Westworld.
Right. Yeah.
So that's just where I am right now, and I'm like, it's cool. But I do agree with you. It's interesting because Motorola had the wraparound, which they demoed, and it wasn't fully functional, but it was actually an OLED display that you could see was functioning. There just weren't any inputs in there, so that could work. But I do like that aspect where if Samsung does that, something where it's almost like the new form of a tablet. Because and it's running an ARM processor, because the rumors that Intel is doing now, it's like Intel processor just won't work in here. Like, to me, it doesn't make any sense.
And then especially with all the progress on like Windows on ARM.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that this would make the most amount of sense in there, but I'm not exactly sure. I mean, we just have to see what implementations are, because right now everybody is making that move, but what's it going to be? And I think the implementation difficulties because our standard OSs just don't fit.
All right, I'm in here, guys, to blow things up. What's going on?
Hey,
what
Warren?
up, man?
You made it. I saw you jumped in, jumped right back out, jumped back in again. You're doing the hokey pokey. It's good time.
There was something wrong with the audio. That wasn't going right. People were sounding kind of funny. I don't know what it was, but it's fixed now.
Warren, it's called an African accent. If you don't understand it, man, that's just wrong.
Wow.
I've known plenty.
Really uncomfortable again.
I've known plenty of Africans long enough now, and I still don't understand it. Speak English. Speak English in this country.
Man. That's just wrong, man.
Yeah. You know what? You should just go watch Luke Cage season 2. Listen to all the patois in there.
I could just go down the street for that.
So I was holding off on that. I don't mean to derail. Have you been chewing through Luke Cage? Is it better?
Season 2 is season. So basically, season 2, I think, feels like it should be the second half of season 1.
Okay.
It's
more consistent, because like there were so many things I liked about Luke Cage, but the inconsistency of how that show was produced. I just want a show that feels like it's got a little bit more focus.
And they got into Hero for Hire nicely.
Okay.
They kind of got into that, so that was pretty cool.
All right, then I'm stoked. Okay, sorry, we don't have to derail and.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Just quickly here. Kuro. This is a
Kuro
Tengetsu 91. Yeah, says he's playing Witcher 3 while watching you guys. Thank you for multitasking, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, but we were talking about Warren, as you jumped in. We're talking about the Note 9, Samsung's foldable displays. How does it apply to what maybe Moto is announcing, and also what Microsoft is working up with Andromeda and pocketable Surface? What do you think?
Let's see. as far as the, I'm trying to catch up a little bit here on the foldable displays. I think we've seen this pushed out a few times, and this is sort of the next iteration of, I think, this is probably stuff we're going away from the standard cell phone and going into some other different communication.
Pocket computer. I mean, that's
I think we're going away from it's like the evolution of the PDA. With the PDA was a personal digital assistant, then we went to the smartphone. This is like a PCD, a personal communication device, and I think that's where these things are sort of heading. Where they're gonna make these things, but it's gonna take a while for the operating systems to catch up to the hardware to figure out what these things sort of will fit the role in. But one thing that they'll probably be really good at from the bat will probably be in the way to make sure you can stay communicated and stay connected with the world and stuff like that. So most likely your social media apps will take advantage of this. Your messaging apps will be able to take advantage of these different sort of hardware designs and such. And what I think is interesting is that I think some people are going to pitch these, like I think Samsung will pitch this as a brand new device because they're not scared to do it that way. They'll just put something out there similar to what they did with the Galaxy camera.
Galaxy X, man, we know that, right?
When they just put out they'll just put out a device and see where it goes. And remember, they made two versions because they had one that added the phone capabilities with it as well too. I could see them putting this out as a straight phone. Well, I could see some other companies possibly using this as a companion device to a smartphone, or like a light version of smartphone, like that useless the useless thing that you pay 40. What is it? The Light 2, whatever that useless thing is, and it's useless.
I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just like, and tell me how you really feel about it.
I'm just in the belief. One of my friends is so like, that thing is perfect. I'm gonna buy it. I can use it. It's so simplistic, and I'm just like, buy a dumb phone. Simplistic. Buy a dumb phone. Like, I'll buy a phone and just only use certain things on it. Lord,
so before you continue, to add to this here is, just since we're on that whole line, Motorola says, this is with the invite they said, say hello to a new way to connect, stream, download, video chat, broadcast, and more. Now, a lot of people are saying it's the new Moto Z, they're talking about that. But, like you pointed out, Juan, you're saying, okay, is this something that's in that vein of bendable, or at least a new device? Because if Samsung is going to production of bendable displays this summer, it means that it's most likely them and one other person that's buying that display. Likely, yeah. And right after, it was literally put this way: the news for all these came in succession. Samsung's news was on Monday. Moto sent announcements. Was it yesterday or two days ago? And then right after that, Verge dropped the whole pocketable Surface news right after. So you're going, okay, there's got to be a connection.
It's pretty clear they're competing with one another.
Yeah, they're competing with one another. Yeah. So is Motorola going to announce the first bendable or foldable device, or true device, not the stuff we saw from ZTE, which is just two slabs of screens together?
Well, it would make a lot of sense for Motorola under Lenovo's purview. Think about what company has probably been most responsible for pushing the boundaries on flexible foldable displays, foldable form factors. You've got the Yoga, you've got the Twist. You've had such a clear track record of them actually embracing the benefits of things from Windows 8 on to try and make some of this hardware happen. And then it took Microsoft making the Surface for it to really catch fire and move beyond that. But they've been doing dockable screens. They've been doing business solutions. Their modular docking system for accessories is really flipping sweet. And then you also get into things like Moto mods. I would be very curious to see, because I'm hoping that this is still a generation of phone that supports Moto mods. I would hate for them to abandon that ecosystem for any Motorola fans that have bought into that system. But I would like to see a Moto mod that actually makes the phone the accessory. So we've had, you slap a projector onto the back of your phone. That's kind of cool. Not necessarily very practical, and extremely expensive for what that thing does, until they started giving them away. But why not do like a Razer's laptop dock project, but make it a Moto mod? So you have your pogo pins in the base of the chassis where you can turn your phone into the trackpad for a laptop clamshell, and then you have something that's kind of like DeX big battery, big screen, converts into more of a PC style interface, and it's built for that magnetic Moto Mod situation. Why not invest in foldable displays that augment the phone, and then you can remove the phone when you just want to use a regular phone. The phone becomes the accessory powering the experience, but you're not actually interfacing with the phone for the Moto Mod. You're using something else to expand the usage and the scope of the phone. This makes a lot of sense to me that Motorola and Lenovo would want to pull something like that off. It's just whether or not they have the vision and also the technical expertise. This is really early days for this kind of technology, and making something like this robust, I think a lot of people are going to be hesitant to just jump on board because it's unproven tech, and it could be really fragile. It could be super durable. We just don't even know yet.
Yeah, Mohammed Islam says he can't wait to have a bendable display with graphene battery, which Sam agrees to. I think that would be dope, but right now, like the whole graphene thing is kind of slowed down. Everybody was excited about it. Yeah,
it's coming back. Their sources saying graphene might be coming back.
It should. I mean, the benefits are quite high. And then Anil says, Juan, my Uber driver the other day had a Note 4 connected to his car. It looks so good. Not to mention, it still manages Spotify maps very well. That's how
the Note 4 was a beast of the device. And it looks sexy too, man.
Still handily competes up and against like more expensive mid-rangers.
Wasn't that an Exynos that year, Warren?
No, that was the Note 5 was the Exynos.
Okay.
It was no, it was a Qualcomm 805.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Because it was the first one to really use, because that was the year we got the LG G3 with the quad HD display, but it was powered by the 801, underpowered for that screen resolution, and the Note 4 comes out and just blows it away. No, that phone still holds up so well. You want 4K video with optical image stabilization in a metal framed body with a grippy back, removable backplate so you can swap that battery and add the ability to do wireless charging. There isn't anything on that phone which isn't considered flagship specs today. If it had still been getting software updates and maybe a leaner build of Android than what Samsung, saddled it with, it could still be going heavy today.
Yeah, it's really beautiful phone.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Sam? What do you think about Microsoft's Andromeda project with pocketable Surface?
I think Warren hit on a very, very interesting point when he said when he referenced the PDAs. There was a promise with PDAs. This was going to be your personal digital assistants, something that would help you make your days easier. Now, when you combine the promise of that PDA with what's going on with AI tech right now and stuff that Google is doing with Google Assistants, and then you bring devices like this that have high resolution, that have better cameras, that have better speakers, that have better connectivity, I think we're finally approaching that ultimate promise of the PDA, that these are really going to be our personal assistants. Because, you have the size of a computer and now the form factor of a computer in your pocket. If you can actually take that and add a usable augmented intelligence or assisted intelligence to that thing. I don't want to call it artificial intelligence, but whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know.
You add that to a device like this, and it could really be a major seller. It could really change the way that we use mobile devices. It could take us away from the phone. And the phone form factor, just the regular square that Juan keeps on complaining about, that we need a different form factor. This might finally be it, Juan. You might finally get what we've all been hoping for. Yeah, and then we all know what's going to happen. They're going to screw it up somehow. But hey,
the renders.
Microsoft, they're going to screw it up.
I will say, whoever did these renders just on the renders alone, the renders are pretty nice. This guy, just needs to jump rendering.
If we could land even close to that for a consumer grade production device, what makes me really sad is this is the kind of software hardware synergy that I would expect from Apple, and it feels like Apple is coasting on this kind of stuff, and it's a shame. Look at how pretty that is. Again, I don't necessarily believe that Microsoft is gonna pull that off for a first gen device. But
it's interesting. It's not really a bendable. It's basically two overlapping. Yeah. No.
Again,
it's one in the middle hinge. I mean, 3 screens. One in the middle.
No. Those are the 2 screens that are just bent curved around, to meet in the middle. It's like a full curve.
And I've seen a couple different renders where.
So here's it, right? Here's the one that's bent.
No, not that one. It's the one that's being bent, like basically where it's really inverted, and it looks like that there. It looks like it's 3 different screens. You see that? One in the middle, and then 2 on the side.
Interesting.
So again, I mean, but it's about finding a novel solution which is better than what we had with like the Kyocera Echo.
Yeah.
You know, like as long as we can beat that, we'll have progress. But that to me also is a part of a larger conversation that we've seen 3 different variations on that theme with all of these different renders. So there's obviously no consensus on how to do it right.
Right. Yeah.
But what we can all kind of agree on is we're not quite ready for a hard seam. Can you properly fold it in half against itself just yet? And that's where what company comes up with the better solution for that as a durability conversation. Because that's one of my big fears. One, you have much more screen real estate, but you don't add much space to improve battery capacity. 2, you've got a lot of moving parts. So can you maintain things like a basic splash resistance? It doesn't need to be submersible. We don't need IP68 on everything. But can you at least give me IP53 with all of these the sliding screen elements, bendable screen elements, hinges, et cetera, and then will the life of an OLED be harmed? You know, organic elements creating their own light, will that be harmed if we're constantly folding it and mashing it and bending it and twisting it? And when those 3 questions are answered, then I think we've got our true successor. Until that point, we need to have hinges and probably split screens.
Yeah,
and I'm not like. So just to put everything in perspective, these devices are going to come out. These devices are going to come out. They're not going to be perfect on the first go. And I'm always wary when devices like these that come out that are very future forward looking, and then they come out and they have quirks with them, and people really start bashing them and saying, "Oh my God, this is the worst thing ever," or whatever. It's worth giving it the benefit of the doubt.
Let's call this. Say, for instance, say Microsoft makes this, or Motorola, or Samsung. We know Samsung most likely will have one. But let's take the Surface. Let's say Microsoft makes this, the first one. This would be like, and sorry, Techno Buffalo, but yeah, I remember, you know.
We all remember.
Yeah, I remember your first review on the Surface, man. That was rough, bro. So,
well, the second review of the first Surface was much nicer. Funny that right before the launch of the Surface 2, like the Surface 1 got this glowing revisit, and you're like, oh, well, once you used the product, you seemed to like it better.
Yeah,
interesting.
So I think for stuff like this, as reviewers, you have to keep in mind that, yeah, you're right. There's going to be quirks. There's going to be things that you're like, how come this doesn't work? It shouldn't work this way. It's going to happen with that, but if, you know, these are the kind of devices that would, you could say in a sense, move for, like, you know, like Warren pointed out, that's that PDA promise mentality, and the fact that because I think what they truly with bendable, this kind of bendable displays, is that when you pull it out of your pocket, you really should do everything. And yes, we can do a lot of that with our phone, but again, there's still some limitations. There's the screen dimensions. There's the fact that even on the browser, you still get mobile instead of full browsing.
Full browser.
And
this is also why I really hope that we'll see an ecosystem expand. The news that there was going to be a new standard for micro SD cards, I thought was really interesting, because they were talking about PCIe speed buses, memory cards. So the memory card, yeah, having fast storage, that's going to be killer. That's going to be great. But with that kind of bus speed in a mobile device, we're only a baby step away from properly incorporating things like Thunderbolt 3 style connectivity. So if we want, we can make the phone the brain, the one operating system that follows us. If we can get that connectivity speed up, if we can make that happen, you dock your phone in an Asus style dock or a DeX style dock, and it's connected to a proper GPU. It's connected to maybe even a full, you know, Intel grade processor and a bank of storage, and it becomes the brain of your workstation. And you throw that up to, you know, dual, you know, 4K displays or a huge wraparound curved monitor. We're right on the edge of making the phone that kind of brain to follow us around and interact with other products with a more robust interface and more robust tools. And so that to me is really where I want to see it go. If we get a foldable screen, that's kind of cool. But if we could make the phone the omnipresent computing solution for any situation. You've got a tiny little screen when you need it. You've got a medium-sized screen when you want a tablet. You've got a laptop shell when you want that. You've got a desktop-grade workstation productivity environment when you need that. I want that to follow me throughout. I'd like to get to a point where every consumer doesn't have to interact with 7 different operating systems throughout the course of their day. A different interface in their car, a different interface on their phone, a different interface on their laptop, a different interface on their work computer. Let's stop doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. You know, that's not going to happen unless somebody buys up all the companies. Let's just call it what it is. So.
Oh, but that's just it. Is like you plug a Huawei into an HDMI cable, and you get a really robust desktop-grade interface for Android where you can pull up video editing apps in window and work on your content that way. So I think there's this end-run solution. You know how I always talked about, like, it would be neat if IBM Watson could just be my whole interface and I didn't have apps anymore. But you would still interact with Yelp. You would still interact with Google Maps. You would still interact with Gmail. It's just that I would tell Watson, go do that thing for me, and Watson would be a middleman that would go and do that end run. I think every company could probably come up with their own proprietary software interface, but as long as we had Thunderbolt, I'm just putting that out there. If we had Thunderbolt on our phones, then it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter what software solution that one manufacturer used. We would at least have a continuity of hardware that would get us around to that endpoint where we could make the phone the one-stop shop.
Okay, makes sense. Well, moving on, LG is supplying iPhone X OLED displays. In the article there says that's good news for Google, which I guess means either they've improved the quality, because you know Apple would take the same quality that Google took last year. That was kind of crap. So
well, the thing is, it wasn't crap, but didn't Apple?
No. Let's call it what it is. When I unboxed my phone on Periscope, before I even looked at the phone, people were like, "Blue," because they could see it was blue right there. So,
well, but I mean, like, again, a lot of that was color tone and hue too, because if you go off axis on a Galaxy, it gets warm and it gets ruddy. So if you just want a warmer display, that's fine. But
I wasn't going off axis
on LG.
I just opened the box and turned it on, and then it just turned.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was perfectly dead center.
Hey, you can go back and check out the Periscope. Maybe not. I think it's disappeared.
I'll throw you some stars and some super hearts. But no, because I do got to get going. But on this last note, if we've seen Apple dump money into improving that OLED, and that we know LG can cycle and they can iterate, then even if we're still a generation or 2 generations behind Samsung, we're still in good territory. And I haven't really had significant complaints with my LG V30 running that pretty hard most of the time as a daily driver. I've never completely understood this, why I need to have the best possible image clarity when viewed at an extreme angle, because usually at that point I'm not actually watching the content as much as I'm listening to the content. But I can understand why it's a complaint. If you're spending a lot of money, you expect those things to be perfect, but let's at least keep them comparable, where all screens seem to have this kind of shift, just some screens have a more extreme shift than others. If Apple has thrown this cash behind them and they're getting the results out of it, then this is a huge win for the industry. It means that Samsung actually has to compete. It means Google's going to have better negotiating for the next Pixel. It means LG screens will improve too. It's going to be a nice little bump for the entire segment, even if LG screens are still 1 generation behind Samsung. Even if they're not exactly at parity, even if they're close, that's still a huge win for everybody for competition.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts, Warren?
I kind of lost my train of thought.
No worries.
Display.
I'm gonna go ahead on that mic drop right there. Everybody,
all right, man.
I'm out. But have a good rest of the show, guys. Have a good week, and be on the lookout for all kinds of cool, exciting stuff as we're all getting cool, exciting stuff done. So I'll catch you all next week on another podcast. Be well.
Later, man.
Bye.
All right. So in between that, while Warren is gathering his thoughts, someone just sent me, I believe this was Anil, sent me an article on digital trends. It says Apple's latest touchscreen patent keyboard suggests a squishy keyless feature. So let me share that for you guys, and I'll share the link later on. This is the patent here. So it's a touchscreen that has squishy-like features, so like a soft membrane to it. That would be interesting. I mean, that would help for key pressing. This might be more for a flat keyboard, for maybe like an iPad, where it's got a like a thinner membrane keyboard, something like that. I don't know. I don't think this would be for an actual touchscreen itself, like visual representation. Because you remember, Warren, remember what was the name of that Lenovo tablet that they sent that was like, it had like a flat surface touchscreen keyboard? It probably did. It just didn't have any feedback to it at all.
Was that a Lenovo?
Yeah, it was Lenovo. I just can't remember the name. If anyone can remember the name of that let me know. But I think it's where is this thing? I think it's I don't know. I think that might be the case. Not necessarily a touchscreen itself for visual representation, but more of a keyboard. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah. All right. Other news for folks who use Tinder, dating apps. Tinder is finally encrypting your photos. So your photos are now encrypted on Tinder. So I guess there's a benefit to that.
There's that. how about fixing everything else that's wrong with that thing?
I mean, there's that benefit,
If people are still on Tinder now that hard, I'd be surprised.
They're still number one in that game. So I mean,
which is amazing considering that I've even thought about it. It's the influx is so ridiculous that I can't see how that app still functions and works to do what it's supposed to do. But maybe it is.
Sam, any thoughts on encrypted photos?
Well, look at him. He's like the Tinder pro himself.
No. It prevents screen grabs. I think that's the thing. You're using the device on your phone with pictures and whatever. You're sending these pictures are going to be on someone else's phone because someone else needs to see it to make decisions on, on if they're going to swipe left or right or hit X or however Tinder works. At the end of the day, it's still the whole idea.
Yeah, the thing with screen grabs and screen recording, like that's something that has to be down with the OS, where Google has to
or Apple. In the Tinder app. They could do it in the Tinder app.
They can do it in Tinder app.
Yeah. I guess you could do it in Tinder whenever that operation of power and volume up comes in, you negate it and you don't act. But what about screen recording?
I think you can also prevent screen recording.
You can prevent it too. There's security features.
No. Then what about somebody using their phone to take a photo of the
other? There's always going to be a way.
And you take an L.
I'm just saying.
There's always going to be a way to subvert these things.
There's only so much you can do. I mean, I guess it's cool to hide or encrypt your photos, but I don't really. I guess are they? I mean, I guess it can help prevent like stealing of photos and other people using them in their profiles.
Yeah, I think that's
probably the main thing that they're trying to prevent. But I mean, I don't know if that's well, it'll be interesting to see how much that helps out in terms of like spam and fake accounts.
Yeah, we'll see how that.
A lot of fake accounts out there.
Oh, new reports from GSM Arena says Microsoft's foldable Surface Phone LG to supply the displays.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it looks like it's a heated battle at the end of the year. So according to GSM Arena, the so-called Andromeda project now being pinned as this year's information says new leaked email with some new APIs found in Windows 10. Latest preview gives us a bit more speculation. Andromeda Surface Phone isn't going to be just a phone. It's going to be a portable device. API allows for applications to adjust the interface functionality depending on the hinge position, code reads, and then also talking about the filing. And then Panos put up a photo. He put up this. I'll just share the photo he put up, which has nothing to necessarily do with it, but I guess people are reading to the fact that you can see the hinge in the middle, and there are two photos. So you know, take as you will. And then he mentioned LG display, so we'll see.
I guess we shall see.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. It looks like, I mean, I do like the shifting gears if that's going to be the case for someone like Samsung or even Microsoft towards the end of the year. Especially, I know you missed this earlier where Juan was talking about the fact that, you know, we've seen, you know, leaked images of the Pixel 3 with a notch, and the fact that, like, you know, all these companies are making notches when we don't need a notch. Like, it's like
I don't want no damn notch.
It's like a step backwards for no reason at all.
Yeah, no,
Something to do.
Yeah,
poor design decisions.
Yeah, and then one of the things he mentioned earlier, which I'm going to mention again, he was in another podcast where the I guess the person he was talking to basically, you know, dissed the notch last year, didn't like the notch in the LG G7 ThinkCube, but when he saw a notch on the Pixel 3, which he likes the Pixel, was like, yeah, it's not so bad. And I'm like, you know, that's just pure uselessness, because we can't allow companies continue doing stupid things when, you know, if you liked it, you liked it. That's fine. If you like a notch, support it all the way through. If you don't like it, then if you're going to change, you got to give a valid reason, not because it's on your door. If Samsung puts a notch now, I will diss them for having a notch. It's just that simple. It may be a good device, but just like the G7. G7 is a solid device. It has a notch. It's terrible.
They're not going to put a Samsung's never going to put a notch in it. Like,
yeah, Samsung. I mean, Samsung is most likely going to do the same thing with the S10 as the.
Oh, if they put a notch on the Note 8, man, I am so not getting.
I mean, no, there's no notch on the Note 9. No, I mean,
if that phone showed up at that event and we saw a notch on there, you would hear a pin drop in that. In fact, you could hear a pin drop. Everyone would just be quiet. Some people would leave.
Yeah, it would be. No, I mean, Samsung's gonna go with a bezel-less, you know, display. You know why? Because they were the ones who supplied the display for who? Oppo. That is an S9 display, just thinner. They're the one. That's an S9 OLED display for the Oppo Find X. So Samsung can do it, but of course they're gonna move that out to the S10. They want to pack in a lot of technology into that device because that's a flagship there. So to me, it definitely makes sense. Mobile Tom says, totally, the notch is the smartphone design version of the mullet. Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much, because that's exactly.
We don't even know damn mullet. Is it the business part or is it the fun part? Because to me, it's neither business.
There's no fun in the notch.
I don't think the mullet is any of the two, man. That's
the only notch I want is
business in the front.
The only notch I want is nachos. That's it. Nachos.
Yeah, I mean, that's so we're interesting to see, though. We'll see how that pans out. But I think that's pretty much.
So, what do you guys feel about? How did you guys review the France versus Argentina game?
I already started that. I said, and I'll just repeat myself, that was a fantastic trashing. Yes, the score was 4-3 at the end, but you know, the African national team showed up, and
it's just like 2/3 of France's team.
And it was a fun game. It was a fun game to watch. And Mbappe, I mean, if you watch football, Mbappe played well. I mean,
how do you pronounce his last name? You don't pronounce the M?
Yeah, no.
It's just Mbappe?
No, Mbappe.
Mbappe. Where's he from?
I don't know where he's from. But he's 19.
He's donating his World Cup earnings to charity. So
that's not a lot.
I mean, it's quite a bit.
The players who don't play.
I want him to donate his club money. Let him donate his club. Yeah, exactly. How about you donate your club money, bro?
Warren, would you donate your club money? Like,
exactly.
I donate a sixth of my club money, like 1/16. Here you go.
I am so happy Argentina lost.
Yeah, they deserve to take that.
They stole that game from Nigeria with like the penalty that we weren't awarded. The handball that happened in that game.
Another hand of God mode.
Argentina. I'm happy because they did not deserve to move ahead. I think Nigeria deserved to move ahead. I know I am biased, but I think Nigeria deserved to move ahead.
Argentina didn't play very well.
Yeah, they really didn't.
They really just kind of, what did they tie out and win one? and it's not really impressive.
Yeah, no, exactly. But yeah, it was a good match to watch. I mean, like I didn't expect 7 goals in that game, but the French team it's solid. They're young, they're fast, and they showed up in this game saying, "Look, we're ready to play." So we'll see how Uruguay and Portugal show up. I expect Ronaldo to show up, unlike Messi. Messi, even though he played better this game, he still didn't show up in this World Cup. So,
it doesn't matter. He can't get out of it. He'll be a next year. He'll be at the next one too. In case you guys don't know, Messi is like only 30. So he'll be back in 2022. And knowing Argentina, they'll drag him out there when he's 40 if they have to, because they think he's the god. So
yeah,
that's why Messi is.
That's why he looks miserable playing for Argentina. He wants to. I think last year he was like, "I want it. If we could just win, I will retire." Like I think he'd announce his retirement from international play right as soon as they win.
No, he did after the
World Cup. He says Diego Maradona being drunk was great. Richie, I don't think he was just drunk. I think he was also high on cocaine.
So Maradona, you gotta find this video on the web.
Hell of a drug.
Maradona, and actually go check out the Jesus and Mero commentary on that video. Basically, Maradona is a Nigerian fan. She sees Maradona, wants to take a picture. The security stops, and he's like, no. She takes a picture, then he starts doing like a little salsa, dancing with her, spinning her around. National anthem comes. He goes up on top of the ledge. 2 security guys have to hold him because he's just leaning like this. I mean, it's like he had like a Jesus moment, And the commentary from Jesus America is like, he wants to be like Maradona, not he, but it's like Maradona, man, 45 years snorting coke, and he's still going strong.
He is such a
It's so bad.
It's like that uncle that is like the worst person, not the worst person on the face of the planet. The uncle that he was a really nice guy when you knew him growing up because he was always fun, and then you find out he was always fun because he was always snorting coke, and you're just like, that's just who he is. He snorts coke.
You want to know how to keep him like insane, sober? To keep him playing soccer. Once soccer ended for him, it was a wrap. He had nothing to burn that coke off with.
Maradona, to me, it's just like every time I hear anything about him now, I just laugh because I'm like, wow, you can't make stuff up anymore with Maradona.
Oh, it's true. It's very true with Maradona there with this one. Anything else to cover, guys? Any other news items? Anything we missed? I'm just going through to see if there's anything out there. If there's anything you guys want us to cover as well, quickly before we wrap up. Let us know. But I think that is pretty much the major topics this week. I know it's just interesting with basically in almost a month and a week we're going to see the Galaxy Note 9, and
the earliest we've ever seen it.
Yeah, and then a month and technically a month from that. A month from now, we're going to see something from Motorola, which might be very interesting as well. So it seems like Motorola was waiting for when Samsung will make their announcement, and they're like, okay, let's do it, because
AKA let's avoid.
Yeah, because
you
don't want to go into that because IFA is also at the end of August, and everybody else will be doing bigger announcements, like the whole crew. And then after that, you have Apple. Yeah,
Apple will announce. Well, Apple will announce. Yeah, probably a week or two after that, maybe.
It's a week out, roughly the week after IFA is when Apple announces stuff.
Apple announces. Yeah. In September. So we'll see where.
So let's put it this way: our summers are packed now. It used to be we had slow summers, not anymore.
We haven't had a slow summer in like 5 years, man.
No,
it stopped a long time ago.
It's getting busier and busier and busier, which is fun. It's good. It's good to see. I mean. The one, Mohammed is asking about he says he likes the Oppo Find X. Oppo initially said they were going to bring the device to the US, and now they said they're not anymore. I don't know if that has to do with, political situation or whatever, but they were very adamant, and then they just kind of just said, nope, not coming out.
I wouldn't be surprised.
On eBay.
Well, they're probably looking at a lot of this trade stuff going on right now, and they're kind of like, it might prove to be difficult or expensive.
So Mobile Tom asks if the Note 9 is over 1,000, will people buy it? I think it would start at its the price they had last year, which was $950, right, or $900?
I don't remember because everybody had different prices.
But the it was 9 something. But the variants I think are different because we're getting 8 gigabytes in one variant and up to 512 gigs of storage. So you're looking at a device that you need to get, if you get the 6 gigabyte version, 256 most likely would be 900 something dollars. So I think it would make sense. The over 1,000 for 8 512. You know, if you want that, sure. That's something. Ronald Collins says 930. Yeah, thank you very much, Ronald. Let's see, any more questions? They're coming out in Europe, not trying to sell phones there. They're opening an office in Rotterdam and 5 of the European countries. Yeah, I mean, I think Chinese companies just like Oppo, Vivo, and Xiaomi are trying to expand. They have the other half of the global market. You know, our traditional leaders in smartphones, LG, HTCs, have evaporated. You know,
they don't try anymore right now. They're just, they used to compete, and then at a certain point they decided to stop competing, which is honestly has halted the growth and the sort of the expansion of getting different sort of smartphone ideas and designs out there. They all just kind of got to a point where like, oh, we're not winning in this space because we're, you know, instead of trying to make phones that are sellable and work within their category, they're like, we need to beat Apple, we need to beat Samsung, when the lead for those guys were already so greatly ahead.
Well, I think it's not just that alone. I think it's also the fact that they didn't innovate in the spaces they had. You know, we knew LG was the camera phone for a little bit, and then other people just have taken that mantle left and right. You know, like Google has done some of that. Huawei has come in and done their own thing. I think it's the fact that they haven't decided to innovate and be aggressive. You know, like Anil's asking, he says, you know, wasn't the Find X the publicity stunt? No, I put it as you got to make a flagship that everyone will talk about so that people will also look at your other devices. Oppo has been known for mid-ranges with one of the best set of selfie cameras out there. So for them, this is them saying, oh, we can make other things as well. And that puts them in people's minds. Even if no one buys the phone for $1,300, the next time they release the Find X2 that's cheaper, or like, you know, $1,000 or $800 or something like that, people will look. That's the whole idea of that kind of strategy there.
I'm sort of getting really surprised here that we're not seeing the big players. Maybe they'll do this next year, but we're not seeing the big players really push into full gaming phone solutions. Similar to they kind of let Razer drop their thing out there. And then Asus went and said, nah, fam, we got the ROG, and we're just going to drop our whole feature set out there. And we haven't really heard from Samsung, LG, or HTC about doing anything similar to this. And you would think Samsung doesn't have to.
Samsung doesn't. Yeah, they don't.
Although the second LG and HTC do, they will drop their version of whatever they want to do, just because they're petty. They're petty and just want to take their business. But it's surprising to me that LG and HTC, who have the capabilities of making things like that from an engineering standpoint, and they have everything there, are just kind of sitting back. And I think in a market that seems to be primed for someone else or somebody to take over there. Now, like my thing is with the Asus coming out with their phone, which we've all tested out, and it has gotten great remarks for hands-ons, and it seems like it's going to be a great phone that works. If that product works and then it gets into any type of esports sponsorship, it ends up being the standard bearer for that going forward. Then LG, HTC, you're out of it. Don't even think about it.
I mean, the thing about it is just a matter of you know, right now, like somebody asked, you know, who are these phones for? Razer had the right idea last year. They said, you know, they talked about one game and how it had 150 million people in the Chinese market. That's still the biggest market for gaming phones, no matter how you look at it. It's not necessarily here.
Oh, well, hence why it has that phone.
But I mean, HTC I think is the best bet if Vive wants to actually do something with it.
Well,
that's the thing I see.
Let me just see this comment here from LGH. Yes, Sony tried this and they could do it again, but they could do it again because they have the experience in doing it. Learn where the pitfalls were in doing this. And the reality was, the thing is, the Sony's PlayStation phone wasn't a bad phone. It's just that Android wasn't there for.
Oh no, Android was way behind at that point.
But it's actual, the hardware, the screens, the display, gaming functionality actually worked well. And a lot of people got that phone because you could hack and put ROMs on it, and that was really the big thing for it. It wasn't even that the hardware itself was a mess. It's just that Android just wasn't there. Like if they would have released that again now with the current version of Android and push it forward and connect it somehow to the PlayStation Store, the PSN Now, they'd have something on their hands.
No, to me, that's what I was hoping for Sony to do. And like I said, the reason why I'm saying this is because, again, remember how I had that discussion with you, Sam, about what Microsoft's long-term gaming strategy as in playing on every device. On the PlayStation Now, you can play remotely on your PC, like anywhere. Xbox is just within your home. It's not outside the home. The PlayStation phone would have been perfect for me to play God of War on the go. That kind of thing where I can stream directly from my PlayStation at home, which is on standby, and do that.
Well, don't even think about streaming it from home, but your game saves are on a server that they have the game available for you to stream.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
anywhere you are.
Those kind of things. So that's why I said HTC and like Vive and Steam, like that's, right now, Steam is still trying to work around that, Steam streaming. We've tried it on, on the Samsung TVs. That's where the market is. Oh, I forgot about the one thing. Rumor is Google is joining. It wants to join the video game market on a big level because they want to stream games. So, when I said that long-term strategy Microsoft was thinking, they had a plan for it. It's a matter of like who does it well, smallest common denominator, and how diverse it can be. Because now that NVIDIA has shown that you can run those games off the NVIDIA GPU cloud, which is one of the big things that they showcased in the last 2 years, right? Yeah. Now it's about, okay, can we now take that, people because mobile gaming has become so big and powerful where even some mobile gamers are like, I like these games, but I still want more, which is basically going to a console or PC game at that point. So
it's like, and I understand Microsoft's strategy, but the problem is, and it's been the problem the entire time with this whole thing, is that you need hardware. You need a hardware offering to get that stuff out there. And they seem to want to always distance themselves from doing that. And that's why something doesn't become successful for them. And they'll come up with a service that's a really good service, but they, for some reason, will gimp, or completely ignore the hardware aspect of it, and then expect people to still want to connect to it. You can make your stuff cross-compatible for those that may already have a device but like your service and want to use it until they can get either that same device, or they can't get that device for whatever reason. They're just using what it is to be able to connect to that service, to be able to use your service. They like it. You can connect to those people. But if you don't have some type of hardware that connects back to it, so like if Google gets in the gaming space, you guarantee they're gonna have some type of pixel gaming hardware to go along with it, to push forward with it. Similar to Amazon has an Amazon gaming bundle for their Fire TV, because if they're going to push games, they're going to have something there for people to go in and have first party hardware to use it with. For whatever reason, Microsoft does not believe in this, and they will once again put something out that's kind of cool. Everyone else will copy it, be known for it, and they'll be back at the drawing board again. Like, I have no faith in them putting this Xbox thing out there and streaming it, and it actually becomes a thing without them having some solid hardware to put the back it up.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree to an extent. I think it would do well. I think it's just a matter of who does it easiest and best across the board. Google has just the easiest access because, of course, of Android and Google Play and all that kind of stuff in there, to make that happen. On the hardware aspect of things, I mean, the only other hardware they're going to come out with, we know right now, is, or at least we're guessing, is the Pocketable Surface. That's something you could tie it with. I mean, that's probably the easiest thing to tie it with at this point. If they
but they're not going to give you that thing towards that. They're not going to.
They're not going to gear any specific hardware to it. And
that's why people aren't going to look at it. They're going to see it. They're going to hear about it.
But you think about even Google's gaming hardware will still be a streaming box for everything else and gaming. That's what the Google. I still
have that. I never took it out of the box. I still have that Nexus Puck.
Yeah, because it was not that. Look, I'm sorry.
No, but that Nexus Puck they can redesign it now with current gen hardware, with the current software.
Oh yeah,
drop that bad boy
like
in
the Fire
there.
Cube. It's like the Fire Cube.
Yeah. And there you go. You have this handset. While Microsoft, it's like, well, you can just connect to our streaming service and do that. Yeah, once they get through all the advertising of Google and Amazon pushing their stuff down your throat, similar to Apple pushing their games down your throat, you're just gonna slap it on there. Microsoft. Gaming isn't like Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. You can't just drop it on everything and expect everyone to pick it up. It doesn't. They have that mentality. They think that it works that way, and it doesn't. But we're also about the company that can't market a damn thing in their lives. So,
well, speaking of marketing, LG has run a lot of ads, though. I will give them props for the G7. A lot of ads in the World Cup for the phone.
They've been running a lot of the Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look. It's with the World Cup. It's a good time. Even if you're not going to run ads the rest of the year, this is a
hilarious thing. Hilarious thing. All it talks about is taking a selfie too, which is hilarious. not the quad DAC and the 90% other things that the phone does, and the camera and all the other stuff in the back. No, it takes great selfies, and it's like you're not even the best selfie camera. But
actually, you know what? I'm fine with that. It does not matter. It's the phone's name is out there. And they're telling
that's also the problem. The phone's name is out there.
But that's fine. They've never done anything like that. So
what is this thing? Like I want to put a sticker over that thing and just I want a G7. I don't want this.
But even if they talk about quad DAC or anything like that kind of stuff, it's explaining to people that you don't have to explain, and the name is out there. So I give them props for actually.
It's easy to explain that because all you got to say is we got a headphone jack. The best headphone jack. Unlike your competition doesn't have a headphone jack. You don't have to say it's a quad DAC. All you got to say is we have AI in our headphone jack. Just fucking make up some shit. We got AI in our headphone jack.
There is no goddamn. I'll be like this. I guess so. It's a quad.
Whatever. The people will ask you, is there really AI in it? Well, kind of not. Are you gonna buy the phone? All right, it's not an iPhone. I don't care. just go with it sometimes.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, I think we should wrap up. We've just rambled through a few topics here.
But Sam has anything.
Sam, anything?
I got nothing. I got nothing whatsoever.
Yeah, well, guys, thank you very much. Make sure you check out the channels, and of course, we've got to the end of the show where you can expect stuff from us next week. So, Warren, what do you have on your channel? What can we expect?
Stuff.
Okie dokie. All righty.
I don't know what that stuff is, but stuff like there's some stuff in my eye that I don't know why.
Wow. This is bringing out crust from his eyes. Okay. On my end, I have my 30-day review of the OnePlus 6 coming up on Monday. I will have a few roundup videos. One is a speaker test between multiple devices, the OnePlus 6, the HTC U12, the LG G7, Razer, and a few other phones that have some really loud speakers to see who has the loudest currently on the market. On IGTV, expect the kernel to be back on Tuesday. And also some audio review on Thursday, and this weekend we should have some fun stuff for you as well on there. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Definitely check out all the channels. Mr. Juan Bagnell is Some Gadget Guy on YouTube and all social media outlets. Mr. Warren Bowman is bw1.com on all his social channels, as well as also YouTube and his website. Sam is Black Iron
Instagram TV too.
And Instagram TV too.
I'll be putting stuff up there more than just the one rant I put up there because Android messages pissed me off. Can we talk about that?
No. Go watch his rant on IGTV. Seriously, just watch it. And then you can check out Sam. It is Black Iron _man on Twitter, and myself. It's Booredatwork on all channels, all social media channels, as well as on the website and YouTube. Thank you very much, guys, and always enjoy your entertainment.